Welcome to the Life Coach Lounge. I'm Angela.
I'm Lisa.
And I'm Emily.
This isn't a podcast for coaches. It's for you, for real people navigating real life. It's lighthearted, it's deep, and it's grounded in faith, friendship, and purpose.
And once a month, you can join us in our virtual Life Coach Lounge on Zoom.
So pull up a seat. The Life Coach Lounge is open. Okay, welcome back to the podcast, everyone. I am here with my friends Angela and Emily, and today we are talking about color. We're going to talk about what our favorite color is and what our color says about our personality. So, a little backstory. This is how questions in text messages and Marcos become podcast episodes. So this past week, Angela said, random question, what's your favorite color? And I will admit that there was a moment when I'm like, where's she going with this? But she genuinely just wanted to know what our favorite color is. So, Angela, can you just elaborate a little bit? Like, am I right? Like, that's really what you wanted to know was, hey, I don't think I know what their favorite colors are.
I don't think I ever asked you. Yeah, we never talked about it. And I don't know if I would have guessed correctly either.
Emily, did you think the same thing? Did you think, where's she going with this? Or is she just asking a question?
Of course I did. Of course I was overthinking it. That's what I do. I thought I could tell her blue because that is my favorite color. That's the first one that comes to mind. But then I thought tulip time just got over. Is she digging up bulbs in our favorite color and sending us tulips? Because if she's sending me tulips, I don't really want blue tulips. If you're asking tulips, I would say pink or red or the pink and yellow ones. And so I definitely was overthinking it. And then I just stopped myself and said, blue. That's my favorite color. Blue.
Yes. Well, as we move into this podcast and talk about color as it pertains to like your color personality, you will all soon realize that, of course, I turned this into a podcast episode because, that's going to track really well for my color and my personality. So I'm just going to take a second right now to invite our listeners. You can do a couple different things here. You can decide what color personality test are y'all talking about, and you can hit pause. And the link to the color personality test will be in the show notes, and you can click on that. And it's very quick. It's about 20 questions. And then once you have your answer, you can come back and listen to the rest of the podcast or pull up a chair, get ready to hear what we have to say about colors and each other's results, as well as how we were surprised or not surprised by the revealing that we're going to do. And then just take the color test, the quiz at the end of the podcast. So just give everyone a little bit, like just to orient everyone a little bit. So a little background on what a color personality test is and is not. It's not a magic trick, but it can be used as a practical shorthand for human behavior. So for me, again, you will soon see this in my color reveal. But for me, I needed to know the why. Why do I care about this? And what's in this for me? Like, if I'm going to take this test, why am I going to do that? So, what is the quiz for? If you think it's really just like a simple psychological way to evaluate your personality. So, like a psychological mirror, it's a tool that takes complex personality theories and translates them into 4 easy to digest colors: red, blue, green, and yellow. And then you're kind of given a vivid snapshot on how you naturally show up in the world, because each color represents whether you're driven by logic, results, harmony, or energy. So why might this be useful? Well, there's a couple reasons that I wrote down quickly. One would be like that aha moment. If you are in a relationship with someone, because yes, I did have my husband take this color personality test too, you might have that moment where you realize, oh, so I am a fill in the blank color, and I'm going to stop obsessing over the details and make that my superpower instead of making it mean something negative about myself. Or maybe even in conflict resolution, like when I realized that my husband is a fiery red, so he's fast paced and direct, and I'm more of a green, more nurturing and steady, and like to think things through. It kind of gives you a little window to pull back the curtain, if you will, and be like, oh, okay, so this is what's really happening here. So, just a quick overview: a red color is someone who is bold and decisive and driven, like a director, a leader. A yellow is somebody who is expressive, very social, spontaneous. So, somebody who is a visionary and like the Energizer Bunny type friend that you might have. Greens are strategic, they're calm, they're analytical. So, someone who's a supporter, a diplomat. And blue is someone who is empathetic, loyal, very detailed oriented. So, somebody who is a planner or a connector. And so note that these results come as blends. So in your personality, you might have a percentage. So you might be kind of a blend of 2 colors together. So let's get into it, girls. Let's reveal our colors. For each person, Emily, I'm going to have you go first. I just want you to answer these 4 questions when you're telling us what your color is. Obviously, what your results were. Did it make you laugh, or were you a little like, ooh, did it make you cringe a little bit? Was the color something you were expecting, or were you like, oh my gosh, please don't be that color. Please don't be that color. And would your spouse or even your BFFs here in the Life Coach Lounge say to you, yeah, that tracks? All right, Emily, you reveal first.
Okay, so my results were sort of that mix. I scored 55% green and 40% blue. So it labeled me as the diplomat, which equates to deep empathy and quiet strength. And so it didn't surprise me. It definitely resonated when I read through what the diplomat, the description was, especially with the green in general. So that was 55% that I scored. I noticed in the description, after you take the test, you can read all about the different colors. This deeply resonated. It says how to know if you're a green. And one of the check marks on that section was, you've been told you're too nice or too sensitive, and you're still not sure those are real flaws. That has been something that I have wrestled with for a lot of my life, feeling like it made me weak. And just recently, I've realized that's actually a strength. So that really resonated deeply with me. I don't know that any of the description made me laugh. There were parts that made me cringe only because when they pointed out where I could improve or, yeah, strengthen areas, it definitely resonated. And I thought, yep, still something I'm working on as far as like putting other people first and not taking care of my own needs. And then I have not checked in with Andrew. I also just recently sent him, just today, I sent him the quiz and said, you should take this. It would be fun to discuss the results. I am going to guess right now, before knowing his results, that he is also a red. And I think if you read through what a green was, it would definitely track. He would say, oh, yeah, we are opposites in a lot of ways, but also we complement each other because we do see the world so much differently.
Yes, love all of that. And I think that when Brian and I were doing it, well, when I was reading actually I read the test to him because, as you know, he travels a lot. So, and this, unfortunately, this week he was traveling on a weekend day. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to sit here and drink my cup of coffee while you drive with your cup of coffee and you can't take the test, but I'm going to give you the test. So then I read his results to him. And yes, I said similar things, Emily, like, yep, that tracks. And it was really hard for me not to be like, let me just answer this question for him. Let me answer this question for him. Like, no,
Right?
you answer the question, because he's like, I don't know. What do you think? I'm like, I'm neutral here. You tell me, which one are you? So, Angela, you're up next. Answer those 4 questions for us and tell us what your results were.
Okay, so I was 45% green, 25% blue, 25% red, and 5% yellow. And did it resonate for me? So the first thing I noticed is that it said, I have deep empathy and quiet strength, which I would totally say, yes, that is very true. The other thing I noticed is that I'm 25% blue and 25% red. And I thought, okay, if you add those together, that's 50%. That's more than the green. So I started looking at the red and the blue, which I guess make purple. But what I came up with is red, it says is bold, decisive, and driven. And I was like, oh, that doesn't sound like me at all. But then I thought, in my faith, I think I am very bold to speak truth. I am decisive when it comes to, I see the world very black and white. I'm an Enneagram 1. So I'm very much spiritually driven. And I think that when I think about my faith, I would say absolutely it resonates for being red. And then when you stir that together with the blue, empathetic, loyal. I mean, I have heard myself say before, I'm loyal to my own detriment sometimes. So I feel the loyal very deeply. And detail oriented, yes, I am. My interior design experience, my entertaining and culinary arts, I am very detail oriented. And so when I take the red and the blue and stir them together, I feel like that is more me than strategic, calm, and analytical. I don't feel like I overthink things. I feel like you guys are going to laugh, but sometimes I just choose not to think about things. So, like email. And so if I have the ability to do that, which makes me wonder, am I actually strategic and analytical? I'm not sure. So yeah, was some laughing and some cringing and some, kind of thinking through the numbers a little bit and playing with it. Funny enough, you asked, is there a color we were hoping for? So if I had taken this quiz like right around the time I got married, 35, 36 years ago, I would guess I would have been 80% yellow, like full on yellow. I was a very social person, very outgoing, wanted friends around all the time, was very active in Bible studies and church groups and all of that. And the older and older I've got, the more and more and more introverted that I've gotten. And it's an area that I want to flex that muscle more because I know it's in me. I mean, I know I scored a little bit yellow, but I know it's in me and I know that I can kind of resurrect that part of myself. What would Jim say about this? I have no idea, but what do you say? What do you think? Am I a purple or a green?
Well,
I was surprised you didn't score higher on the yellow because I think of you as fun. You and Jim play cards every night and you have cocktail hour and you're telling us how you go and walk through the tulips, in Holland and you go to movies. I feel that you're very spontaneous and have a lot of fun ideas that you're always telling us about.
see, and I took it differently. I think that the fact that, first of all, the fact that you analyzed taking the red and the blue and combining them together to make your own color, and then I'm not sure if the green is correct. I'm like, well, then you are bold and decisive and driven because you just did that thing. And to me, your what Emily was just describing, I see that more as your calm. Like I see like the fact that you and Jim have a set time to when he gets home that you play cards and you connect. And sure, you can be like, oh, let's go down and take a walk. But I feel like that's more calmness for you that is just a part of your routine almost, not so
For
much
sure.
spontaneity. So, yes, I would say those colors for each of you would not have surprised me. And so, interestingly enough, listeners, all three of us are greens, like predominantly greens. Emily being a little more green by only 10% than Angela and I. And then I have kind of a in between blue from the two of them, a little bit of red and a little bit of yellow. And kind of like Angela just said, that a yellow is a place I would like to flex more. And I talk about that a lot in the Marcos with my girls, that I would like to feel more spontaneous. I can go with the flow in the moment, but I am very much, well, we've talked about this on the other episode where we talked about introvert and extrovert and ambivert. And girl, if it's after a certain time, now that I'm in, mid 50s, if I am looking closer to putting on my pajamas than going out on the town, probably going to put on my pajamas, probably not going to go with the spontaneity. So I was labeled more methodical in planning with quiet precision, hence why, of course, I made Angela's simple question of what's your favorite color into an entire episode about color. Did you, either one of you, think, oh my gosh, that is so not Lisa? Or did you think, nope, that definitely tracks?
Well, 100%. You've always told us you're analytical. You label yourself that a long time ago. So that was no surprise to me.
Yeah.
It also doesn't surprise me that you scored a little bit in each of the categories, each of the four categories. But yeah, I think it wasn't surprising to me. at all. And talk about wanting to be more spontaneous and flex that muscle of fun and socializing. The elephant in the room is that I scored a 0 on yellow. So, of the three of us, I am the least fun, apparently. And I need to maybe take life a little less seriously. And I have mentioned that here before, and I have mentioned that to both of you, that that is something that I also want to get out of my feelings and thinking and just be more in the moment.
Well, it's interesting that you say that because this podcast was your idea and that was highly spontaneous. We should start a podcast.
You're not wrong. Well, in all disclosure, it was my daughter's idea. I did bring it to the two of you. So you two are both helping me to be more spontaneous and to push me outside my comfort zone a little bit. But no, Lisa, I thought all of your results tracked, and this was really fun. So if our listeners haven't taken the test yet, it's just a really fun little experiment.
All right, so let's take it one step further since I just said that we're all green, every single one of us. I just have a couple curiosity questions once I got your results prior to recording. So, Angela, you said that it kind of surprised you and didn't surprise you, but so can you just expand a little bit on it and tell me a little more about the blending of the colors? Like I didn't even think of it that way when you were like, so if I take the blue and I take the red and I get out my artistic palette and I create my own, this is what happens.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder as we're talking about this if I'm just resistant to being a strategist, a diplomat. But then the green does use the word supporter, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that I can get on board with that. Deep empathy, quiet strength, yes.
The labels that the quiz gave us, I didn't
Yeah,
really love those either, Angela.
not a fan.
So that's why I added some. I added some. I'm like, okay, let's
Yeah.
think of another word here that. And yeah, I'm with you on that one. But a supporter, like if you think about what the three of us do
Yeah.
right now, currently for our careers as coaches, it's not surprising that all three of us rank highest in the green category to be strategic in a way to support those that are coming to us for guidance. So,
Yeah, and you would think that three of us with the same personality profile might clash a little bit, but I think we all bring our own strengths that are different from each other. And so it works.
yeah. And keep in mind too that we are all wise enough to know, but I'll just say it out loud, that this personality test is not a label. This is not something that you take and then you're like, oh, okay, so it said I'm this, I guess I'm this, and you make it mean something that
Right.
if you do that, then give one of us a little call and send us a DM because we'll help guide you back on track when your brain wants to tell you some made up story. But it's just like I said in the beginning, a fun way to kind of peel back the curtain a little bit and be like, oh, that does describe me pretty well. And I'm not going to make that a problem. I'm going to look at it more like a superpower. Like, okay, that's good to know about me. And how can I make that work to my best interest? So, Emily, what does a room full of greens here in the lounge look like in real life?
Well, it's the three of us showing up and collaborating and taking care of each other. There's been multiple times where before we hit record, we're checking in because we read an expression on one of our faces, and the two others are noticing on the one, and we're like, "Are you okay today? Everything all right? Do you want to talk about anything?" So it's like we're constantly checking in and taking care of one another, but not in a let me push my nose in your business kind of a way. It's a
Right.
genuine care and concern. And I was just referring back to the website, and just a couple of sentences to describe the green personality sheds a little bit more light on this. Green personalities seek harmony and balance, acting as natural mediators and advocates for others. They build deep, lasting relationships through genuine care. And then a couple of more notes. Walk into any room, and the green personality is the one making sure everyone feels included. At their best, green personalities create environments where collaboration thrives and conflict dissolves before it starts. So that just speaks to why the three of us have continued to do this for over a year. We don't bring any drama to the table, to the friendship in the Marcos. Like the way we communicate here in the podcast is the way we communicate in text message, in the Marco Polo app. If we ever get a chance to be together in person again, which would be amazing, we need to plan that again soon. So it works because we genuinely can care about each other. And yeah, it's a beautiful thing. I just love you guys. We love you.
We love you too. And I think that the expression of the three of us together making bold green vibes here in the lounge, especially based on things that you just read about the harmony, and it also goes above and beyond just like our Marcos and our recording here, because when we are chit-chatting, a lot of times, listeners, when we've hit the button to stop recording, we carry on a conversation for quite some time that is talking about like what our listeners' best interests at heart would be. Like how can we take what Emily just described about the three of us and our relationships, and how can we like pour that out onto everyone listening? So I think watch out, because the green wave is the green wave is coming for you.
Well, that's what we bring to our once a month Zoom room
Yeah,
meetings
yeah.
too. So if you haven't joined that yet in our private Facebook group, this is what we do. We care for one another. We show up on the Zoom screen and genuinely want to know who you are, how you are, your thoughts, what's going on in your life. And so that's another way to experience more of the green wave, as you just said. Join our private Facebook group and join us in our once a month Zoom meetings. They are very connecting.
So since Emily and I both kind of mirror imaged each other with the blue green percentages, Emily, do you ever feel like when we're talking in the Marco, since Marco is obviously very one sided at the moment, you're basically talking to yourself until the other people show up in a little bubble and let you know that they're there, or listen to your Marco when they have a free moment. So, do you ever feel like when either, well, when I'm talking primarily, when I'm talking, you're like, uh-huh, uh-huh, and I know what she's going to say next. And yes, that's what I would have said also. And
Oh, definitely. Yes. And then sometimes if we are collaborating in a text thread, the three of us, you'll respond in a way that I'm like, yep, exactly what I was thinking. Or we'll all have seen something on social media and you'll be like, this is what I thought. I'm like, yep, exactly. My thoughts exactly. So there is definitely that we kind of just get each other on a level, yeah, that you can't really explain.
and so Angela's with her, well, my wrote down was her green red blend, but now maybe it's the green purple blend, as she just pointed out to us. So, Angela, do you ever feel like you need to kind of push us blues along? Like, I know there are times when you will come back in a typically in a text message or sometimes even in a Marco and be like, so yeah, so about that question, are we doing that thing?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I don't think of it as pushing along.
Well, a gentle nudge, like,
Yeah,
yeah.
maybe. And I mean, you guys know me. I always try to use humor anywhere, anywhere appropriate. So yeah, kind of might use some funny emojis or something to have you come on, let's do this.
Angela's been known from popping in the Marcos and being like, you guys, I have the best idea. We should totally do, and then fill in the blank. She just has amazing ideas that kind of seem not far fetched, but like when you get super excited and thrilled about something, it comes through and it makes the two of us also very excited. I mean, not that I want to speak for Lisa, but your
Oh,
enthusiasm
you're
about
right.
new ideas and strategies is motivating. I really like that when you have that bold, quick, high action, let's do this.
Especially when it's accompanied with, if you're in one of your moods where you're like, this is such a great idea, and your humor is like right there, like leading the charge, then typically Emily and I will show back up in a Marco and be like, that was the funniest thing I've watched all day.
Yes, 100%.
So it is well worth the price of admission to know that we all, while we're all dominantly green, we all bring our own other blends of color and energy to not only the podcast, but to the friendships as well. So Emily already mentioned that there is very, very little yellow happening in the lounge at the moment with the three of us. So it sounds like we all want to flex that muscle a little more, though. So stay tuned, listeners. You have no idea what might be coming down the pike for that one, since yellows tend to be enthusiastic, creative individuals who focus on building high energy environments. So look out, you don't know what's coming next once we start flexing that muscle. All right, so now that we know that what our colors are, and as I mentioned, it's important to know that your color is not a label. It's not labeling who you are. It's not becoming your identity, but it's just a lens. Do you guys have, I'm just curious for our listeners, if you, Emily, if there, for example, if there is a relationship in someone's life where understanding the color types would change how you show up, how would you, like, what advice would you give to that listener? Or even in a relationship, like I mentioned, Brian and I are green and red, and you're thinking your husband might be a red.
So, yeah, once you take the quiz, you can read up not only on the color that you are predominantly scoring in, but also on all the other colors. And it will tell you how to understand better somebody that might be red, who seems to be very opposite from you. So, I felt like this personality test or this color test was very good at the information it gave you afterwards as a tool to just understand each other better. And I know for me, what resonated, again, I'm referring back to the results again here, is as a diplomat, which is a combination of green and blue, diplomats are experts at reading everyone else's needs and terrible at identifying their own. And also, diplomats don't just empathize, they absorb. They take on other people's anxiety, sadness, and stress as if it were their own. So good to recognize that is what I have done for most of my life. Recognizing that that's my tendency helps me to realize nobody else is putting their anxiety, their sadness, their stress upon me. I just, for some reason, feel like it's my job to pay attention and take it on. So noticing that doesn't make my family or my loved ones the enemy. They're not throwing it at me. I'm choosing to take it on. Helps me to show up differently so that I can be like, no, they're just having a bad day. That's okay. They're going to have bad days, right? There's a phrase that hits home for me. Just because you can read the room doesn't mean you're responsible for everyone in it. So I have to remind myself of that often. I can empathize and be there for people without taking it on. And then for a red that like what I said, I think my husband is, he can just be very decisive, somewhat blunt at times, non-emotional at times, which is completely opposite. And so if we're discussing something that might have emotion attached, he can come at it without emotion. It's very hard for me to come at it without emotion. So again, just such good information to know and understand your people so that you can communicate more effectively with them.
That was very well said, Emily, especially the part about reading the room without. That needs to go on a t-shirt.
Do you want me to say it again, just in case any of our listeners need to hear that again?
I
Just
mean,
because
maybe
you can read the room doesn't mean you're responsible for everyone in it.
Yes, I think that is important for all of us to remember, especially if you find out that your color is green. Angela, if a listener was potentially clashing with someone at work, or maybe a friendship, or even a relative at home, what's the first question you might ask them, knowing what you know now about the different personalities and colors?
So, a great coaching question that I like to lead with is, how is this making you feel? Because anytime someone comes to a session talking about a difficult marriage or a difficult teenager or a difficult relationship, what I want to ask is, how is that experience for you? How is it making you feel? Because then that's teasing out the thoughts that are causing that emotion. And if a lot of times, like you guys were talking about your husbands, you know, they non-emotional, I think was the word you used. If you say, how does that make you feel? And they honestly don't know, there are tools that we use as coaches to help them understand, to put language to their emotions. But yeah, chances are that the difficult relationship might just be difficult thoughts that you're having. So, as far as the color test goes with the thoughts, I think that would be teased out in multiple sessions where the same patterns kind of keep showing up. So, yeah, it's an interesting question to ask, because I never thought of doing this with a client. So, watch out, girls. You might be getting coached.
Angela's going to come for us, Emily. All right, listen up here, Greenie.
Hey, I'm here for it. Help me be more yellow. Help me be more spontaneous. That might be the next thing that you coach me on, Angela. So,
are you shitting on yourself?
I don't think I use the word should. I want to.
I should be more yellow. No.
Well, friends, as always, as we begin to wrap up this episode, I think the two of you just were very eloquent in describing really a person's self-awareness, really, when Angela's talking about their thoughts and Emily's mentioning, like, not just recognizing your own color slash emotions and things like that, but also reading the room and recognizing what others are feeling as well. It's really that self-awareness that gives you the beginning. And so the color personality quiz can really be like it's your ceiling. It's not that starting point. Again, it's just giving you that lens. It's not labeling you, it's giving you that lens. And I would love to, and I am speaking for Emily and Angela, but I'm sure they're going to nod their heads when I say this, but I would love for our listeners, especially those who are already in the private Facebook group. And as Emily mentioned, if you're not in the private Facebook group, so that you can come and hang out with us once a month in the virtual lounge. And we just put some different things in that group that we don't put on our regular socials as well. I want to know, once you take the quiz, what's your color? I mean, tell us. We want to know, do we have fellow green listeners out there? Or are you clearly a yellow that we need in our lives? We need some yellows in our lounge. So once you've taken that quiz, please come back and tell us, whether it's here in the podcast comment section or on social media, but we want to know what your results are. And if you want to take it a step further, let us know if you were shocked or if you were like, nope, that tracks. So ladies, as always, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing this time with me and for going along with my extension of Angela's simple question on what's your favorite color. So we're going to close out with not our personality colors, but my favorite color is purple. Angela's favorite color is yellow, like the color of butter. And Emily's favorite color is blue. But what kind of blue did you describe it to be, Emily?
Ooh, like a midnight blue or navy blue.
Yeah. So thanks, ladies. It's always so much fun to chit chat with you. And as always, I will see all of you next week on the podcast. And I'll see you two probably in about 5 minutes in the Marcos.